Michael, what's today's audio topic?
Today, the SMSL DA converter D200 I ordered arrived, so that's what we're talking about.
So it's about the new DAC. Master, you want to hear about the D200 with the ROM DAC chip too, right?
Yes, I want to hear.
How did the D200 sound?
It was my first time using a ROM DAC chip, so I was a bit worried about the sound quality, but it sounded better than I expected.
What equipment did you use?
The source was Amazon Music, the network streamer was Linkplay's WiiM Ultra, the amp was SMSL's PA200, and the speakers were B&W's 805D4. I compared connecting the PA200 directly from the WiiM Ultra versus routing it through the D200 DAC.
What are the spec sheets for the two units?
Since it's a comparison between a network streamer and a standalone DAC, I decided to compare the DAC chips. The D200 uses ROM's BD34352 EKV, while the WiiM Ultra uses ESS's ES9038Q2M. Here are the spec sheets for the BD34352 EKV and ES9038Q2M. Both have 32-bit depth and the same two channels. The SNR is 126 dB for the BD34352 EKV and 128 dB for the ES9038Q2M, with the ES9038Q2M being higher. THD is minus 112 dB for the BD34352 EKV and minus 120 dB for the ES9038Q2M, again showing the ES9038Q2M as superior. Both support PCM up to 768 kHz and DSD up to 512 kHz, matching in this regard. The built-in digital filters. The BD34352 EKV has 2 types, while the ES9038Q2M has 7 types, meaning the ES9038Q2M has more.
Spec-wise, the WiiM Ultra with the ES9038Q2M is superior. With these numbers, isn't it unnecessary to add the D200 to the WiiM Ultra?
Looking solely at specs, yes.
Yet the sound was better when routed through the external DAC D200.
Then let's dig deeper into why adding the D200, which has inferior specs to the WiiM Ultra, resulted in better sound. First, clock and jitter handling. SDIF relies on the sender's WiiM Ultra clock, but the D200 seems to reclock the input signal before DA conversion. The WiiM Ultra's built-in DAC relies on the same clock and power supply as the streamer, making it susceptible to noise and jitter. This difference likely reduces jitter in the D200, potentially improving sound quality. Second, differences in analog output stages. The D200 DAC chip, BD34352 EKV, appears to prioritize natural soundstage and harmonic richness over raw specifications. Even if the numbers aren't superior, the analog stage's construction might make it sound better. Third, power supply environment advantage. The WiiM Ultra's built-in DAC shares the same power line as the streamer board. This risks noise from streaming playback or network communication leaking into the analog stage. In contrast, the D200's standalone enclosure and dedicated power circuitry lower the noise floor, making it easier to achieve a quieter background and better reproduction of subtle signals. Fourth, sound characteristic. The ES9038Q2M in the WiiM Ultra delivers a clear, information-rich sound with a slightly hard, cold impression. In contrast, the BD34352 EKV in the D200 produces a natural, rich sound that is easy on the ears. Therefore, when listening on the same system, the D200 might feel more musical, easier on the ears, and more appealing.
I see. We tend to judge gear by specs, so maybe we don't truly understand the sound.
If you try it in a store, you can hear the sound, but when buying online, many people start with the specs. In that sense, ROM's DACs are less likely to be chosen.
Are there any manufacturers using ROM DACs?
Luxman's DA converters use ROM DAC chips. However, it's not the BD34352 EKV, but the higher-end model BD34301 EKV.
Are there any manufacturers besides SMSL using the BD34352 EKV?
I looked into it, but DACs using the BD34352 EKV seem quite rare.
I see. The D200 might be a rare find then. How does its specific sound differ compared to the WiiM Ultra?
Compared to the sound of the WiiM Ultra alone, passing through the D200 clearly lowers the noise floor. It's not that noise is noticeable with the WiiM Ultra alone, but adding the D200 makes me want to turn up the volume. I recognize this phenomenon as being due to the lowered noise floor. You could also say the SN ratio improves.
So it's better to have an external DAC with the WiiM Ultra after all.
That's right.
How does the D200 compare to other DACs?
Compared to the DACs I've used, like the SMSL SUX or SU9 Pro with ESS's ES9039 Pro, the D200's resolution is inferior. The finer details in the high frequencies and the attack in the bass are clearly better with DACs using the ES9039 Pro.
So, Michael, did you dislike the D200?
Surprisingly, not really. I actually found the way it rounds off and smoothly reproduces the high frequencies quite pleasant. The BD34352 EKV chip used in the D200 sounds more akin to Asahi Kasei's DAC chips. I used to have an SMSL D200EX with Asahi Kasei's AK4499EX. The D200EX had a mellow sound, and I thought that was perfectly fine. Listening to the D200, I liked that similar mellow sound, that easy-on-the-ears quality.
I see. If you like the sound of the D200, are you going to try a clock generator?
That's the thing. As I mentioned last time, the D200 has an external clock input. It would be a waste to buy the D200 and not try an external clock.
Are clock generators expensive?
Clock generators cover a wide price range. You can find them from tens of dollars to thousands of dollars. Among them, the SMSL clock generator G1 is priced at $500.
That's on the cheaper side for a clock generator.
It is, but the D200 is in the $300 range, while the clock generator is around $500. It's a bit odd that the clock generator costs more. Still, around $500 is a good price point if you're trying a clock generator for the first time.
So Michael, are you going to order the clock generator?
Not decided yet. I'll enjoy the sound of the D200 a bit longer before deciding whether to add the clock generator.
I see. Was adding the D200 DAC to the WiiM Ultra the right call this time?
I was worried about the sound of the ROM DAC chip, but in the end, I think adding the D200 to the WiiM Ultra was the right choice. The D200 is affordable and might be perfect for someone wanting to try an external DAC. If you prefer a crisp sound, go for an ESS DAC chip. If you like a smoother, more easy listening sound, then an Asahi Kasei or ROM DAC chip might be the way to go.
We've wrapped up the discussion. Master, today's talk about the SMSL D200 with the ROM DAC chip was interesting, right?
Yes, interesting.